Welcome everybody to Action City Studios here in world famous Lightning Strikes. We are review week 3 of the Oak Forest Premier League. Pretty exciting this week. Looks like the Goats are hanging on to first place by 1.5 over Bobby Hamilton's team. What are your thoughts on last week?
Well, it was a great week. Now we're starting to get established a little bit. People are starting to learn the pattern and a little more confidence, and the scores went up tremendously. We had our first 300, our first 800, and very interesting scores. We've got some handicap teams still doing very well. All in all, very satisfied with the first 3 weeks of the league. It's a lot of fun. Our live streaming's been a lot of fun, and tonight we're going to give all of you the report on what happened during the league play last evening.
I'd like to give a shout out to John Huff, who shot 300 yesterday also at Woodside. So
the great John Huff. Obviously a USBC champion, won the team title in 1994 with a team out of Syracuse, New York. Excellent player, and anytime one of the bowlers in Southwest Florida get hot and shoot 300, we want to give them a pop, and we want to let them know that we're happy for them, and congratulations.
John Huff's a friend of the stream, so I'd like to say good job, buddy. All right, ready to jump into
I'm ready to roll. Let's
All
put them
right.
up and see what we
The
got.
First match.
Okay, Todd Teague, Team 3 with Todd Teague out of New England, out of North Attleboro, Massachusetts. Shot 774 last night, and on Tuesday night shot 300 at Treasure Lanes up in Port Charlotte. So Team 3 brings in a sub to take care of Donnie Schwartz Sr., and he immediately comes in and shoots 674. One game he had the first 9. Again, Daniel Gacera struggling with a low 600. Billy Seymour bowled a lot better with a 661. The team bowled well, but 9 points is not where they want to be. And again, I guess they got beat by the handicap.
They did. Mark's team bowled pretty well. Matt Rizzo got 650 scratch, 671 handicap. Dustin Clark showed up, 654, 699. Mark Jr. bowled really well. He had the front 9 the last game, then he threw a little slow and went through the face. Shot 674 scratch, 698, and the lefty Mike Schumacher also showed up too, 671, 737.
Great series scratch, but again, with 15 points and getting out of the chute really slow the first 2 weeks, they're in 17th place, but they're a good team. They're avid bowlers, and time will tell.
They bowl very well. Especially they were on the cam to the left of the live stream, weren't they?
They were to the left of the live stream. We had a chance to watch Mark and Matt. That's an explosive team. That's a team that can strike a lot. Matt Rizzo can strike, and Mark Jr. certainly, and Mike Schumacher certainly. So even though they're in 17th place, it's a long year. Keep in mind, in 4 more weeks, the handicaps now kick in for this year's first 21 games. So there's some numbers that might change again. It's a long season. I predict that team to definitely be a top 10 team right now. They're 17th place. Long way to go.
Long way to go. All right, the second match, the live stream match.
So a live stream match, and Billy Morgan, who finally broke out and bowled very well, but Dennis Beagle stole the show. Really, the last 2 weeks stole the show. 782 last week, 771 last night. And if you watch the live stream, he missed a pocket once. He's really a quality player. He's going to carry the team all year. That team is going to be a factor. There's no doubt in my mind. Definitely a chance to win. They've got some handicap. They've got some two bowlers, Billy Morgan and Dennis Beagle. 740 a night is not uncommon for those two if they get striking, so they're going to be tough.
You look out when Andy Cox starts getting lined up, because he can strike for days also.
He's been really struggling. I was surprised last night. He was fishing, he was moving in, moving out, changing balls, never really got lined up. He's too good. I said it last night and I'll say it now. Maybe with a little extra handicap coming, he'll loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, he bowled 700 night before at Beacon, so it's kind of disappointing when you shoot 700 on Tuesday. And
some of them are just not quite acclimated yet to our pattern, but once they find it, once they have that one good night, things usually change.
Yeah, Ron Richter bowled pretty well. He shot 611 yesterday, so
bowled very well.
Pretty solid.
Probably needs a plastic ball for the 10 pins. Missed 3 of those last night, but he throws the ball nice. Real good bounce at the foul line. Nice game. Strokes the ball well.
Oh, he's pretty solid.
Good bowler. Good bowler.
His daughter said a good job, Dad.
His daughter was rooting for him on the live stream, and I told him about it, and he was laughing, and that's what makes the live stream so much fun, especially if your relatives are watching, your mom or your dad or your kids or your friends, maybe somebody you went to high school with, grade school with, or a neighbor. We're getting a lot of reviews. A lot of people today were talking to me especially about our money match with the famous Scott Cobb 5-7-10.
That's pretty good.
Unbelievable. The crowd went crazy. He didn't know what to do, but that's part of the sport.
That's a lot of fun. We also have put a fun video of Scott's 5-7-10 on out there. Kind of a little goof on Scott. We took it down. We want everybody to know that we love Scott, and we're not making fun of anybody. We just
I think he liked it. It does hurt. I'm sure he would have rather had us live stream a 300 game instead of a 5-7-10. But the 5-7-10 is so rare, and it's so rare for a real good bowler. I mean, this is a 230 average bowler. They don't leave 5-7-10s.
Never.
Somebody throwing a house ball hitting bumpers might leave them, but not guys that are really as good as Scott. So he took a little ribbon today, but he's a big boy. He'll shake it off.
So for everybody looking at that video, it's no longer up. So sorry, you didn't get to see it. Also, Joe Lastik's team, 535. He bowled with 658 with handicap. Justin Aldridge still struggling. Shot 472, got 640 with handicap. Dwayne Billy also struggled with 535, 637, and Darren Lamar also struggled yesterday, 562, 637 on the live stream.
What's amazing is the team is struggling. They're 36 and 36. They're in 14th place. A little brush up here and there on a few spares, a few bad shots, and all of a sudden they could go 20 and 4 because they do have a lot of handicap. But they got to take advantage of the handicap by making sure they don't give away the easy spares. I've been saying it all year, and I will continue, that anytime you start flagging one pinners and you're a handicap team or two pinners, you really need to practice those. You need to come in here and bowl a little bit, maybe get some advice from Ricky or Chucky or myself, one of the house pros. Well, we can help you a little bit with your spare shooting, give you an idea where to stand, where to look, flatten the wrist, maybe use a house ball. Something with loose holes where you just pipe it down right at the spare. But if you're using a fingertip resin, it spares, it's not good.
No, especially the back end is so clean here.
Yeah, the back end, the ball comes off that oil and it fires left or right. And if you're shooting a 10-pin crossing the oil to the right, you're flirting with the gutter on one side and hook on the other. It's a tough spare to make with resin.
It is. All right, we'll go to the third match, which was Robert Hilton's team versus John Rakowski's team.
Well, Robert Hilton is coming on. Look at Robert Hilton with 739. We talked about him last week, the figure eight. He's got a unique style. He is a very good bowler. They took 14 points. Robert Eddy struggling, but Jacques Khan bowled very well with 686, and of course Scott's Cobb with 730. And Rakowski, a par 652, actually below par, but they take 10 points because they're a low handicap team. And I'm waiting for the team to explode, but they haven't done it yet.
Hey, well, John's a little frustrated. I bowled with John last year at Woodside. He was on my team, and he struggled there also, but he struggled to a 227 average.
Yeah.
So
John's struggling is 227. In fact, I honestly think that's low for him.
Way low.
He's so great.
He is.
But he'll be there. In fact, last night he was saying to me that he felt a strong handicap team would win. I don't think a strong handicap team would win, but obviously a team with handicap being that everybody's getting it. But I don't think one of the teams getting 300 pins a night are going to win the league.
No.
I think a team 120, 130 pins a night could possibly win it. We'll find out.
My prediction is Bobby Hamilton's team. The clients.
I like Bobby Hamilton's team, and those boys and John Pfister, the old man. But 3 of those kids were in my junior leagues at Cape Coral, and they've been avid bowlers all their lives. They've been together all their lives. They have a great chemistry together, and John Pfister has bowled with them, with his daughter in junior league, or his daughter bowled in junior leagues that they bowled in. So all of those kids have bowled together and known each other. There's good chemistry there. I like the idea of a chemistry team. I really do.
Absolutely. The big scores for Robert Hilton were 225, 257, 237 for 763, and the other side was Scott Cobb with 267, 215, 254 for 736.
And Scott getting no handicap, and Scott now has taken an enormous lead over Ricky Ward in their $500 season bet for high average, and Ricky's fallen behind a little more than he wants to. I didn't think he'd be close to 300 pins behind after 3 weeks, but that's just about it. He needs to get on his giddy up, start practicing, or he may as well ask Scott for a buyout after 8 weeks. Of course, when Ricky hears this, I'm sure I'm going to hear about it, but Ricky and I are such good friends. He needs to practice. He needs to get sharp. He's not as sharp as he could be. And he knows it. He was mentioning it to me tonight that he's going to do a little practicing and try a little harder.
Especially Dennis Beagle shooting 770 back.
There you go. We had a lefty with 811 and 300. Dennis Beagle with 770 and 780 the week before. Ricky shoot 580 last week and 640 this week. He needs to get going.
Can't get it done that way.
No, he can't.
All right, number 4 match. Box team versus Chucky Rucker's team.
Well, Chucky Rucker's team in 7th place, bowling very well, very consistent. Chuck was the only bowler this week that didn't break 600, but Mike Durgan, Brad Zielinski, and Reggie Kahn, all 640, 650, 660, and with handicap. If you notice, the handicap with them is really good. They're not full handicap players, but it really helps. You got 3 bowlers with a low of 674. Chucky having a bad night with 686, but he won his points against Scott McDonald, who is a very good bowler. Scott McDonald can strike. Off to a little shaky start, but I've known Scott for quite a few years. He's a bowler that can shoot 800 and 300 any night in the league.
His entering average 234.
Yeah, but was his average? Was it really 234?
Yeah, his book average 234.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high. He'll be back.
Yeah, Brad Zielinski bowled pretty well for a while. 246, 244, 178 for 668.
Yeah, Brad Zielinski throws a big boy. He throws a truck. He's a very nice person, very congenial, wonderful to talk to, always smiling, and he's got a unique game. He's a big man with a short backswing and a lot of revs. Doesn't really raise the backswing above his belt. Yet he's about 6'5", just leaning on that toy. I mean, he throws a train. Have you watched him bowl?
Yeah, I saw him. He's a big guy.
Oh, yeah. Strong ball.
Well, the other side of the team, Michael Martin. 257, 227, 267 for 751, 820.
Wow, fantastic. I didn't see Mike Martin the week before. We had this team, we live streamed them, and I didn't see Scott McDonald either. So they've changed the roster all of a sudden. They were on our feature pair last week, and all of a sudden this week they're a different team. They got some telephone numbers with those 2 guys. Very interesting.
Big scores.
Little roster change. That's like the Yankees going for Encarnacion halfway through the season and bringing him in, and that's what it takes to bring in a horse.
That's right. All right, our next match.
17-7, Team 11 with Robert Seeley, Joe Smith, Mike Smith, and Craig Streetsel finally having a good night, and they took 17 points. I think Craig Streetsel's the key to this team. He's really a good bowler. He didn't bowl well the first 2 weeks. All of a sudden there's a 650, 90 pins handicap, 643. Mike Smith carried the team the first week with 760. All of a sudden he slumped off. And on the other side, Dennis Rieger, very consistent, bowling very well, but his other 3 teammates all in the 400s, so they need to tighten it up a little bit. Let me see his score again there. Look at Josh Brown, Rob Thayer, and J.J. Feather. Well, I didn't see the 400, excuse me. 580, 540. They took 7 points. They were up there quite a bit, weren't they? In second or third place?
Yeah, top 5, I thought.
I thought they were in the top 5. They're 39 and 33. They dropped to 10th. They've got a good record, but they need to get those scores up a little bit.
You drop quickly in this league.
Drop very fast. Again, 90% at 235. If you're off and you're bowling a team that's on, you got a problem. They're going to beat you. If you got any kind of handicap, they're going to beat you.
Yeah, Craig Streetsel bowled games of 247, 225, and the 181.
So he's come back quite a bit. Really had a horrible week last week or the week before, like 520. I looked at it. I said, whoa, he's a lot better than that. Nice man. Good bowler, avid bowler. Been bowling well over 30 years. He'll be back. He'll bowl well this year.
Dennis Rieger, you owe me $10. Don't forget.
I can't wait to see Dennis Rieger's toolbox. You know about the toolbox, don't
I've
you?
been hearing about it all summer.
Dennis Rieger bought, are you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen, a $30,000 toolbox. I'm not joking. It's got, the only thing it doesn't do is drive by itself, but he is a consummate auto body man. He's got tens of thousands of dollars worth of tools, and that's part of his trade. He likes a good image, and he likes the best tools. He's got a $30,000 toolbox, and I got a $3,500 Mercedes. Something's wrong.
Drive his toolbox.
I should drive his toolbox.
Only $10, don't forget.
Yes, a Mercedes toolbox.
All right, our next match. Number 6.
Scott Cooper, the man that shot the first 300, first 800 in the league, 811. Chris Rich with 661. And if you'll notice, the 632 and a 578 got to 740 and 701 with handicap. With Kevin Day and Clark Holloman, they're 49 and 23. Great start for that team. And the Beach Bowl team with James Oswald and Joe Gatewood, 33 and 33, or 38 and 33. Mark Pulaski Sr. drilled a new ball, put the mass bias on the track side, about a 2-inch pin, had back-to-back 700s. Mark, a great ball driller who bought my pro shop from me in 2011, and put the mass bias on the track, 2-inch pin, went back-to-back 700s here. Get the ball be a little smoother off the oil.
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday, shot
Tuesday,
1400. Tuesday and Wednesday here. So the bowlers are learning the shot, drilling equipment for the pattern, getting used to the climate, the controls. Every bowling center has different weather in it, humidity, etc., etc. And once you get used to this center, this is a high-scoring house. You get lined up in here.
Yeah, back ends always help.
Yeah, back ends spark pretty good.
Yeah, Mark Senior bowled games of 207, 269, 235 for 711.
That's wonderful. Great start for Mark. I'm happy for Mark.
Me too.
Yeah, she's taking it very serious. You know, when you start drilling balls for a new house, it shows that you're not happy with your performance, that your equipment is not giving you the right reaction. And him being a pro shop guy, he knows what to do. I was really intrigued by the layout. Very seldom will you see a right-hander put the mass bias on the track to tone it down. The minute I looked at it, I said, whoa, we both started smiling. I said, toning it down? He said, yep. And all of a sudden, 1400 might be a little trick to use in the house to tone it down.
He's matched up.
Yes, he's matched up.
Congratulations, Scott Cooper, again. We have his video online of him shooting 300. So check our Facebook page, Lightning Strikes.
Didn't he have the first 17 in a row?
He did. I thought he'd go back to back.
He got out of the box with the first 17. I never did that in my life. I did once get out of the box with the first 8 opens. That's why I became the ball driller of the tour, so I didn't have to bowl anymore.
Very smart.
Thank you. The screen, and this is his 11th frame. He's on the first 10. Towards the middle of the house. Around 39 and 40, 37 and 8, right in there. Let's see what he does. Left-hander. Rips the rack. Gets the strike. And now here he is for the first 300 in the league, where his name goes in the $1,000 pool.
Be right here. Maybe I forgot him.
Did you forget Ricky? Don't tell him you ever forgot him. You'll never hear the end of it. How can you forget a living legend?
I don't know.
The greatest bowler ever to come out of Fort Myers, and you forgot him.
It is. Speaking of great bowlers coming out of Fort Myers, it's nice to see. What you call here yesterday was one of the legends himself. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you on that.
Oh, the Hall of Famer?
Yeah, Hall of Famer.
What's his name?
Man.
I know his name.
It's so great seeing him.
Yes.
I'll think about it.
Yes, yeah. Well, maybe you got to edit that. But he's wonderful.
Oh, I know.
He's a good man. He was a heck of a bowler in his day, from what I understand.
Yeah, Tim Cruz was here yesterday.
Timmy Cruz was here.
Timmy Cruz. It was great seeing Timmy again.
And Timmy was here watching the action last night. I was so happy to see Timmy. Southwest Florida Bowling Association Hall of Famer. Really struggling with his health in recent years. But he was out last night with everybody, and I was honored to see him.
It was great seeing him.
Yeah, I was honored.
Makes me happy.
Anytime I see a Hall of Famer, I say, yeah, baby.
Absolutely.
You know,
did it.
Somebody that was great.
Absolutely. All right, our next match here. My favorite, Devon Sweeney's team.
Devon Sweeney, 685 using 900 global equipment, bowling with Joe Sguardado, Lewis Martin, and Geoff Flint. All bowled very well, all over 600. Looks like they had about 2580, 2590, a lot of handicap, and obviously look how many points they took. 21 points to go 46 and 26. They're in 4th place, and that's a good team. Joe Sguardado and Devon Sweeney have been bowling together in leagues forever since they were kids. Very strong team. They'll be competitive in the league, no doubt in my mind. They have good chemistry again. That's a chemistry team. That's a friends team. I like that.
Me too. Yeah, I'm happy for Joe. Joe's finally figuring them out.
Yep. Joe's can bowl.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
All right. Greg Lindsay's team.
And Greg Lindsay's team. Greg bowled 598, a little below par. Joe Ponzio with 664. Chris P, 601, our head mechanic. Jerry Lake, 695. Very good bowler, Jerry Lake. But the team right now is having a lot of problems. They're in 24th place with 14 points. And really, they are all good bowlers. It's an amazing situation. These fellas can all bowl very well. But right now, they're at the bottom. I've always said there's nowhere to go but up. I don't think they're going to be in 24th place at the end of the year, but they've got a mountain to climb right now.
Yeah,
they've dug a hole a little bit.
If you told me that they would be in last place,
I'd never.
me neither.
Never in a million years when I said they would have been in last. I'd give them the middle of the pack, for 15th, 16th, maybe something like that. But they're in the cellar, but it's early. With 10% of the league season, not even at 3 weeks in a 36-week season, 8% of the league season is over. This team gets clicking and goes a couple 22-2s, 21-3s. They're right back in the hunt. They need a good week. They need to have one good week to get loose.
I mean, Jerry Lake, 695. I mean, he's bowling solid. Joe Ponzo, 664, bowling solid.
They actually bowled great as a team, but the team they bowled against with Danny Wilson, Matt Pfeiffer, Scott Whiteleather, and Mike Boyd all bowled very well. Boyd with 685 and Danny Wilson looks like even though they're in 20th place, they took 17 points. They bowled well as a team.
They did. Scott bowled great.
And the 518 is really a 653 with handicap. He didn't win, but the other bowlers did. They carried him.
Yeah, Scott Whiteleather, 691. He bowled games of 258, 233, and brought it home with a 200 game.
Yeah, 760 with handicap.
Absolutely.
That's a nice night with handicap.
It is.
I love 760s, but I never had any handicap.
No.
But the only problem was I bowled it for 4 most of the time in my life. So 760, but I cheated and I told everybody it was for 3 so I could look good.
You look good. You look good.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, our next match.
Brian Copeland,
It's Matt Hodgman's team.
Dick Hoagland, Matt Hodgman, and Roy Paris. And you've been telling me about Matt Hodgman.
I did.
Now Paris last week had 728, went to 608, but Hodgman didn't bowl that good, and he went 726. They took 15 points. They're in 8th place. They're in very good position, 43 and 29. John Berkshire is still struggling. Preston Willis, pretty good with 616. The other two bowlers, Jamancic and Kormancic, just not sharp enough. They are high handicap players, but they need to get into 580s, 590s to get that handicap, and then all of a sudden that team could change because they are handicap players.
Absolutely. Matt Hodgman had the front 8 going into the first game, so I thought he had shot for 300, and then he shot 690 last week. So
didn't we have 5 bowlers the first game with the first 8 or 9?
We had 7 with the front 8.
7 bowlers. So on the fresh, they're rather nice.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah, okay. We'll be watching for that next week with our roving cam.
Good luck with that.
Well, the roving cam is going to work. We have some plans, incidentally, to change some things about how to show you the rest of the league. It's coming. We talked to Wayne Toplin today, who is a computer wizard. He's got some ideas. He's got some ideas of a traveling camera running along a cable, like they do in the NFL. He was telling me about it today, and I said, boy, if we can do that and get that thing behind any pair and have a screen as it goes down and stop it, have somebody operate it, maybe like my son Larry, who works with Wayne, somebody that knows computers that could help us, we might be able to bring you live action across the house, which might be a first other than the PBA or Flow Bowling. So we're kind of excited about trying that.
Yeah, we're trying to experiment, try to come with the best product possible.
Yes. Anything we can do to bring the sport into your living rooms. That's what we want to do.
That's right. All right, our next match. This is Larry David's team. We're in first place, dropped down to 16th in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they had another bad week with 6 points. They led the league after week 1. Bobby Martin, Johnny Martin, Larry, and Fred Engels just struggling, just not a lot there, taking 6 points. And the team of John Pfister, Scott Chakosky, Bobby Hamilton, and Tyler Ployd, there they are. They're 57 and 15 in second. We were talking about that team. This is a team from over in Cape Coral, all bowled in junior leagues together, or at least John and, Bobby and Tyler bowled junior leagues. I like that team. They're a strong team. They're all high average players, but they've got some handicap, as you can tell. And look at those numbers, 727, 642, 778, 615. Some real good team bowling there.
Absolutely. John Pfister shot 236, 254, 237 for 727.
Yes, John Pfister, what a game. I can't wait to show all of you John Pfister's game on the live stream. It's fantastic. If I was going to teach bowling today, it's the classic approach. Classic.
My man Bobby Hammerton bowled 184, slow start, 252, 242, 678.
Bobby Hammerton, long, tall, lanky, great arm swing, great release, a lot of revs, 400 rev rate off his hand.
Good.
Great demeanor. I love Bobby. Known Bobby since he was a little boy. I never thought he'd be 6'4". I looked down at him until about 3 years ago. I started looking up.
Wow.
Yes. I shrunk and he grew.
All right.
Okay.
First place team, the Goats.
Well, I made a little mistake last week with House Brown. House Brown and one other gentleman
Clay.
on the team, Clay, are in the Navy. Jay Rucker was in the Army, and Ice Martinez did not serve. So last week I said all four were in the Navy. I must have pumped them up because they won 19 points. But the House actually had a low series. I watched him Tuesday night. He's got this house wired. The House has got the house wired.
Makes sense.
Make sense?
House got the house.
The House has got the house.
They bowled well. You know, it's fun watching them bowl.
Well, they're a great team right now, 58-13, and Jay Rucker, my dear friend, a ball driller in his day, general managed all-star, really quite a player, has won the proprietors, longtime bowler, and the team of Gary Seitz and Ray Stevens slumping off to 641 last week. He had 675. Barry Seitz with 600, but only 5 points in 13th place. That's a little better. That's a little better team than they bowled here. I know last week they had a good week, but they'll be back. That's a good team right there. That team could click.
Oh, yeah. Ray Stevens bowled great last week. Gary, when I watched Gary yesterday, he had a pretty big string there, but he must have fell off toward the end.
Yeah.
I thought
Gary's a good shot maker. Doesn't have a lot of speed anymore. You know, very deliberate approach, soft speed, good hand, can hook the ball, good shot maker. Ray Stevens is a horse. He likes to bowl. He bowls 3-4 leagues a week, a lot of practicing. That might be one of his low sets of the year. I'm kind of surprised it was that low. I don't expect that to happen.
I like Barry Seitz' game too.
I like Barry Seitz. Barry Seitz can lean on it. He throws the truck.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the Goats, Bobby Hammerton's right behind you by 1.5 points, so you better keep striking or.
Those two good teams. You know, again, I kind of thought the Stouffer Ratchin Ward team would be dominating, but this handicap system here has just changed everything. It looks like you've got to have a good amount of handicap, and you've got to have at least two bowlers on the team that can pop 700 here and there, and at least two other ones that can get into the sixes. I don't think a full scratch team can maintain a 27 to 2,800 total every week with very little handicap, and it looks like 2,700 is the magic number for a lot of teams. If you get to that number, you can take a lot of points.
Scratch team really gonna have to know the house well because the 35-year-old panels out there plays different lane to lane.
Oh, they play very different lane to lane. It's topography. You know, we're 4 or 5 feet above sea level. It's a 35-year-old building, and obviously the building's moved. We're in a rainy climate. They're not totally detrimental, but some pairs are tricky. You might get a couple of panels that are straight and one tilted a little bit, a couple thousandths. You know, 4 or 5 thousandths is going to make a ball do tricks out there. That's half the thickness of a dime. So it doesn't take much with topography to change your ball reaction. A lot of people will have one lane tight and one lane hooking. They'll say, why is this lane hooking 5 more boards? Well, the lane machine did oil them the same. This is a flex machine. It oils every lane the same. But if the topography is different, that lane is hooking more because of the tilt in the panel, or hooking less because of the tilt, usually in the last panel, the last 20-foot panel before the pin deck. Don't you think, Tom?
I think.
You think that?
Correct.
I think so.
From my experience. Also, congratulations to all the big shooters last week. Scott Cooper, 300. Todd Teague, 279. Dennis Beagle, 277. Also, the scratch series was Scott Cooper again with 811. Dennis Beagle, 771, and Michael Martin, 751.
Yeah, we had some great scores. The scores are picking up, especially the first game, the first week. We didn't have 8 people with 8 in a row out of the chute. So it's obvious to me that first game on the fresh, these guys get lined up. They're coming right off of practice. Then right around the end of the first game, beginning, middle of the second game, there starts to be some transition on some pairs. They get a little tricky. Then they tone down again, and you'll see a lot of bowlers getting lined up again in the third game. But the first and third games are the games, in my opinion, that you really should be able to take advantage of the pattern. The second game is the transition game, and that's where you've got to make your spares. If you get an early open, you don't want to miss any one pinners. All of a sudden, you need a four-bagger to shoot 200. You want to make sure your strikes are a plus, not a minus, and they are a minus when you don't make your spares. I'm going to say it all year.
Make your spares.
Make your spares.
So I know everybody's excited for who's on the TV pair next week, and it will be teams number 7 and 2. And that is Wayne Toplin's team with Robert Hill bowling against team number 2, Mike Durkin, Chuck Rucker, Reggie Kahn, and Brad Zielinski.
Two very good teams right there with Mike Durkin and Chucky Rucker and Brad. And Robert Hilton's is ready to wind them up, and he had 739 last week. And Robert Hilton can light them up. He is a strike machine when he gets going. We had him right to the right of us last week. He didn't bowl that well. I think he shot about 570. All of a sudden this week, 739, and here comes Robert Hilton.
He's lighting them up.
I'm glad if Robert Hilton bowled well. He's such a nice man.
He is.
Fun to watch bowl, too. He can light them up. He's a strike player.
He is. On lane 25 and 26, we're going to see John Rakowski's team.
We're going to see the Rack Attack.
He's ready.
Next week, the two-time True Amateur Challenge champion in Las Vegas, John Rakowski, Icewater. I call Lee Rapton Icewater, same with Rakowski. These two bowlers don't flinch, so we'll be able to call some fine bowlers. Wayne Toplin, our computer man here, bowling very well this year, always bowled well, 220 average bowler. And Wayne's going to help us with some cameras that might be moving across the house by themselves.
Great.
That would be unbelievable if we could do that. I feel like it's an NFL telecast, wouldn't you?
And we'll turn NFL last night, the pot games too.
Yes.
Oh my Lord.
Yes.
Also, you can see Jaka Khan and our favorite, Scott Cobb.
They're on that pair too?
Yeah, they're on the same
Again,
team.
Scott Cobb on 25 and 6, that's a 780 pair for Cobb. He lit him up last week on that pair.
The 5-7-10 on that pair last night?
No, he left the 5-7-10 on lane 28. And he demanded that we not only fix the rack, but we change the whole lane panel and move lane 28 to lane 40 and put lane 40 where lane 28 is so he doesn't have to bowl on it anymore. I told him it was a little bit out of our ability. But he said it was the rack. It might have been, but in my opinion, I will say this. He left every pocket split that you could leave. He had a 5-7-10, a 5-7, a 4-9, an 8-10, and a 7-10. All within 9 frames on that pair of lanes last night. It was crazy. I've never seen that many pocket splits in my life.
Our mechanics are fixing that right now as we speak.
Yes, our mechanics are going to tilt the panel the other way, fix the rack and open the pocket and close it. And then the minute his ball hooks too much, he's going to say it was wrong, and he'll run to the pro shop for at least 20 new balls. What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right.
Chuck Rucker loves when Scott Cobb leaves pocket splits because the next day it's good for 2 or 3. And lo and behold, today I went in the shop and Ricky Ward was drilling Scott 2 new balls today.
All right. Also, I know everybody's asking about the prize fund winner, and it is this one. So we'll pass it out next week.
Can I see that?
Absolutely, that's the winning prize fund.
This is the winning prize
It
fund.
is.
Wow.
Got 12 votes, 50% of the league voted on that.
Wow. First place 2,800, and then we got the playoffs
Playoff money.
where the league champions get 1,000 per player. So there's going to be a lot of money floating around. What I like is they did spread it out. Even the teams in 24th place get a few dollars back, 23rd, 24th. Obviously, they're not expecting a lot of money when they're at the bottom. But it looks to me like 10th place and up. So pretty good money per player, especially if you get in the top 8. Well, you get in the top 8, you got some nice money
Great
coming.
money. 2,400 if you win both halves.
I like it.
That's not even topping our crazy super bracket.
Plus, we've had a lot of brackets, a lot of $5 scratch handicap and scratch brackets and high game pots. So the bracket action's pretty good too.
Getting there.
Oh yeah, that's picking up. Carolyn Trump's been running that behind lanes 35 and 6. And I think a lot of times, a lot of players haven't bowled in a house in a while. They're a little finicky about coming up with some money for brackets, but couple of 670s, and all of a sudden the wallet opens up, especially if you're a handicap player.
And there's a lot of action after League Bowl, so if any of you guys want to come down and bowl, we start action about like 9:30. So if anybody that doesn't bowl in our league that wants to come down, there's plenty of money going around in our action tournaments.
We love the live action. I do stream that to about 11. And last night, when we shut down the streaming, we had one more match that I wish I could have showed you folks. That was from another world, where Brad Stewart and Scott Cobb, both Dave Stouffer and Lee Ratchin, and we're 140 pins up in the 5th frame of the last game, a 2-game match. And they both struck out with 7 in a row to win. They threw 14 strikes in a row to catch them.
Win by 2.
To win by 2 pins. And David Stouffer missed a 4-pin late in that match. Last night in the match before that, he missed a 10-pin late. And I've been saying all along, those 1-pinners will kill you. And last night, 2 1-pinners probably cost him $1,000. A 4-pin and a 10-pin.
Make your spares.
Make your spares.
They lost 2 matches. They lost the first match to Mark Jr. and Mark Sr. by less than 10 pins.
That's correct. Yeah.
And then they lost the next match to.
And he missed 2 spares in the last game of each match. So there you go.
Late
9th or 10th frames, 8th frames. Too good a bowler to do that. Mental errors there. A lot of times when you're shooting a 10-pin and you know you've missed it to the right, you overcorrect and miss to the left, and he did. He missed the right and left last night, which quite frankly shocked me. He's a fantastic bowler. Might be the last time we see that, but he's got all week to think about it.
Brad Stewart started off 136. Imagine that.
Brad Stewart started out with 136 and walked home a winner. Drove home a winner.
He did.
I guess he's running bingo. Runs a bingo parlor that his mother and dad own. I guess he got his arm swing loose now that he's involved with bingo. What do you think?
Absolutely good kid.
Did you ever play bingo?
Not professionally.
The only time I ever mentioned the word bingo is when lanes were easy. I used to say the lanes were easier than bingo.
All right.
All right.
That's it for this week.
That's it for this week.
See you next week.
We'll see you next week. It's great to have all of you aboard. See you next Wednesday night at 10 minutes to 7 for our live streaming and the recap sometime late the end of next week.
All right, Dennis Rieger, you owe me $10. Don't forget.
Dennis Rieger, I want your toolbox.